It's 5:42 in the morning. The sun hasn't come up yet. Outside Naples, Italy, something happens. The ground moves. Not once, twice. A deep sound echoes across the bay, like thunder, but it comes from below. Within minutes, car alarms start screaming. Dogs bark everywhere. People run into the streets. They're scared. They're confused. Many are still in pajamas. Some don't have shoes on. This is Naples, a beautiful city by the sea, home to 1 million people. But Naples has a secret. Under the city sits one of the most dangerous volcanoes on Earth. It's called Campi Flegrei. Most people have never heard that name, but scientists know it well, and they're worried, very worried. The ground shook this morning, but this wasn't a normal earthquake. Scientists call what's happening Bradyseism. That's a big word. Let me explain. Bradyseism means the ground slowly moves up. It rises like bread in an oven. But why does it rise? Because magma is pushing from below. Magma is hot melted rock. It sits deep underground. And when it wants to move up, the ground above it rises too. Usually this happens very slowly, so slow you can't feel it. But this time, it's not slow. People are feeling it. Buildings are shaking. Cracks are appearing. The cameras caught everything. Security footage shows doors rattling, lights swinging, people grabbing their children and running. One woman said, "I thought my house would fall down." A man said, "I've lived here 40 years. I've never felt anything like this." This isn't the first time Campi Flegrei has woken up. Back in the 1980s, the same thing happened. The ground rose, people panicked. The government evacuated 40,000 people. They moved them away from danger. And then, the ground stopped rising. The volcano went back to sleep. Everyone went home. Life returned to normal. People forgot about the danger, but scientists didn't forget. They kept watching, kept measuring, kept waiting, because they knew the volcano wasn't dead, it was just resting. And now, 40 years later, it's waking up again. But this time feels different. Back in the 1980s, the ground rose and then stopped. This time, it's not stopping. The ground keeps rising week after week, month after month, and now something new is happening, something that makes scientists very nervous. New cracks are appearing. Not small cracks, big ones. They're showing up near places called Solfatara and Piciarelli. These are areas where hot gas comes out of the ground. The gas smells like rotten eggs. It's hot. Sometimes you can see steam rising. These places have always been there. They're normal for a volcanic area. But the cracks? Those are new, and they're getting bigger. Scientists are taking measurements every day. The data shows something disturbing. The ground is rising faster than ever before. In some places, it's gone up 20 millimeters. That doesn't sound like much. But for the Earth, that's huge. And it's still going up. People are starting to ask questions. Is this dangerous? Should we leave? Is the volcano going to erupt? The government says stay calm. Scientists say we're watching closely. But late at night, when the experts talk to each other, they use different words. They whisper about pressure building, about crust weakening, about something they hoped would never happen. One scientist was recorded saying the crust may be breaking. Those 5 words changed everything. Because if the crust breaks, gas can escape. And if gas escapes, pressure drops. And if pressure drops suddenly, that's when volcanoes explode. For most people living in Naples, this feels familiar. They've heard these warnings before, in the 1980s, in the 2000s, and 2012. Each time, the volcano settled down. Each time, life went back to normal. So why should they worry now? But the scientists know something the public doesn't. This time really is different. The patterns they're seeing? They've never seen them before. The speed of the uplift? Faster than any recorded history. The location of the cracks? Right where models predicted they would appear. As the sun rises over Naples, the city looks peaceful. The bay is calm. The water is blue. But underneath, the earth is moving and nobody knows if this is just another warning, or if this time the volcano means business. The evidence started appearing everywhere. First, just small cracks in the pavement. People walked over them without thinking much. Then the cracks got bigger. They started showing up in buildings, lines running up walls, gaps in door frames. Store owners found cracks in their floors. Homeowners saw them spreading across ceilings. Something was happening. Something big. Scientists from INGV arrived. INGV stands for the Italian Geophysical Institute. These are the people who watch volcanoes for a living. They brought equipment, cameras, sensors, computers. They started measuring everything. What they found shocked them. The cracks weren't just on the surface. They went deep, very deep. Instruments showed fractures in the rock below, places where solid stone was breaking apart. One scientist explained it simply. "Imagine bending a stick," he said. "At first, nothing happens. You bend it more. Still nothing. Then suddenly, snap. It breaks." That's what's happening under Naples. The rock is being bent, pushed, stressed, and now it's starting to snap. But why? Deep below the city, there's a chamber full of magma. This chamber is huge, bigger than a city. The magma inside is hot, over 1,000 degrees, and it's under enormous pressure. Think of a bottle of soda. When you shake it, pressure builds inside. If you open it slowly, the gas escapes gently, but if you open it fast, it explodes everywhere. The Earth works the same way. When pressure builds slowly, gas escapes through vents and cracks. When pressure builds fast, things get dangerous. Right now, the pressure under Naples is building fast, very fast. The magma is pushing upward. It's trying to find a way out. As it pushes, it breaks the rock above it. Each break creates a small earthquake. Each earthquake makes new cracks. Each crack gives gas a path to escape. But here's the scary part. When rock breaks and gas escapes, pressure drops temporarily. The volcano calms down for a bit. But if those cracks seal again, if the gas can't escape anymore, that's when explosions begin. Scientists showed a computer model. It displayed the underground in 3D. You could see the magma chamber, the rock above it, the cracks forming. Red lines showed where stress was highest, and those red lines were everywhere. The crust was fracturing in dozens of places. The news started covering the story. Italian television showed footage of the cracks. Headlines appeared, "Campi Flegrei waking up. Fractures detected beneath Naples. Is the supervolcano coming back to life?" People started to panic. Not everyone, but enough to notice. Grocery stores saw more customers than usual. People buying water, canned food, batteries. Gas stations had lines. Everyone wanted a full tank, just in case they needed to leave quickly. Schools sent letters home to parents. "We're monitoring the situation," they said. "We have emergency plans ready." But those words didn't make anyone feel better. WhatsApp groups exploded with messages, people sharing rumors, videos, theories. Someone posted a video of steam coming from the ground. "This wasn't here yesterday," the caption said. The video went viral. Millions of views. Scientists tried to calm everyone down. They held press conferences, gave interviews. "This is Bradyseism," they explained. "It's normal for this area. The volcano has been doing this for thousands of years. There's no immediate danger." But their words felt hollow, because while they were saying no danger, their own data told a different story. Satellite measurements showed something incredible. The ground was rising 3 times faster than in 2022. 3 times. That's not normal. That's not slow. That's acceleration. And acceleration means something is changing. One geologist spoke off the record to a journalist. "We're in new territory," he admitted. "The models we used before, they're not working anymore. Whatever is happening down there, it's bigger than we thought." The government called an emergency meeting. Should they evacuate? Should they wait? How do you evacuate 1 million people? Where would they go? How long would they stay? And what if it's a false alarm? The mayor of Pozzuoli, a town right on top of the volcano, faced an impossible choice: evacuate and cause chaos, or wait and hope everything settles down. He chose to wait. But he also told people, "Have a bag ready, keep your phone charged, be prepared to leave quickly." That night, new data came in. Thermal cameras detected something, a heat signature, underground, hotter than anything they'd seen before. The magma was moving, rising, getting closer to the surface. And if it kept rising, if it found those cracks, nobody wanted to say it out loud, but everyone was thinking it. This could be the beginning of an eruption. Morning broke over Naples. The city looked normal from above. Blue water, white buildings, green hills. But down in the streets, fear was spreading. Families loaded cars with suitcases, not everyone, but enough to create traffic jams leaving the city. One road out of town backed up for 3 miles. People sat in their cars, engines running, going nowhere. Some gave up and turned around. Others kept waiting, determined to get out. Shops started running out of supplies. Water bottles gone, canned food, shelves empty. One store put up a sign, 1 bottle per family. It didn't help. People bought 1 bottle, left, came back with different family members. Gas masks appeared in some stores. They sold out in hours. Most people didn't even know if masks would help. But fear makes people buy things, any things. Drones flew over the volcanic area. What they captured spread across social media instantly. New steam vents, dozens of them, little holes in the ground where hot gas poured out. One video showed a man holding his hand near a vent. "Feel this heat," he said to the camera. "This wasn't here last week." The ground around the vent was hot. Too hot to touch. Scientists were divided. Some said this was normal degassing. "The volcano breathes," one explained. "This is just breathing." Others weren't so sure. "This pattern matches pre-eruption signatures," a volcanologist warned. In other volcanoes, when we see this combination, rapid uplift, new fractures, increased degassing, it usually means something is coming. But what? And when? Nobody could say. In Pozzuoli, the town closest to the center of the activity, life changed overnight. Parents kept kids home from school. Not all parents, but many. The schools that stayed open were half empty. Teachers taught nearly empty classrooms. One mother explained her decision. "Every night I sleep with shoes on," she said, "just in case. I keep a bag by the door, water, snacks, documents, medicine. If the alarm comes, we need to be ready." Other families refused to leave. "This is my home," an elderly man said. "I was here in the 1980s. Nothing happened then. Nothing will happen now. I'm not running from shadows." But even he kept looking at the ground, checking for new cracks. The tension was impossible to ignore. Churches filled with people praying. Community centers held meetings about emergency plans. Local radio stations broadcast updates every hour. And through it all, the ground kept rising. Scientists recorded another surge of activity. Thermal imaging satellites detected the largest gas anomaly ever recorded in the area. The numbers were staggering. Sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, helium, all pouring out in quantities never seen before. Where was it all coming from? Deep below. Where the magma sits, the gases dissolve in magma under pressure, like carbon dioxide dissolves in soda. But as magma rises and pressure drops, gases escape. Lots of gas means lots of magma is on the move. One scientist put it bluntly, "Something is moving below, and it's closer than anyone imagined." That quote went viral. News stations repeated it, newspapers printed it, and people panicked more. Social media became chaos. Half the posts said, "Get out now." The other half said, "Media hysteria." Nobody knew who to believe. The government tried to calm things down. They released a statement. "We are monitoring the situation constantly. There is no immediate threat. Please remain calm and follow official guidance." But trust was breaking down. People noticed the government officials weren't in Naples. They were giving statements from Rome, safe, far away. "Easy for them to say stay calm," one resident said. "They're not sleeping on top of a volcano." Protest groups formed. Some demanded evacuation. Others demanded truth. "Stop lying to us," their signs read. "We deserve to know the real risk." Scientists were caught in the middle. They didn't want to cause panic, but they also couldn't ignore the data, and the data kept getting worse. Each day brought new measurements, more uplift, more cracks, more gas. The pattern was clear. The volcano was waking up. But would it stay awake, or would it explode? Late one night, seismometers detected a new tremor. Not like the others. This one was deep, very deep. It lasted longer. The signal looked different. Scientists studying it went quiet. They'd seen signals like this before. in other volcanoes right before eruptions. One researcher sent a text to a colleague at 2 a.m. Just 3 words, it's happening. To understand what's really happening, we need to look deeper, much deeper. Imagine you could slice the Earth open like a cake. What would you see under Naples? At the surface, normal rock, buildings, streets, life. Go down a few hundred meters, more rock, cooler, darker. Keep going, down 1,000 meters, 2,000. Now the rock is hot, very hot. Keep going deeper. At about 3,000 meters, something changes. The rock isn't solid anymore. It's liquid, glowing, moving. This is the magma chamber, a massive pool of melted rock sitting under the city. Scientists used special technology to map it. Seismic tomography, like an X-ray for the planet. They send sound waves through the Earth. The waves bounce off different materials differently. Solid rock, one signal. Liquid magma, different signal. What they found was terrifying. The magma chamber under Campi Flegrei is enormous. It stretches for miles in every direction. And it's not sitting still. The magma is churning, moving, rising. Hot magma from deeper down pushes upward. It brings gas with it. Carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, water vapor. As the magma rises, it heats the rock above. That rock expands, cracks, breaks. Each crack creates a pathway. Some cracks let gas escape to the surface. Those are the steam vents people are seeing. But other cracks do something worse. They create pockets where gas collects, trapped, under pressure, building up. Imagine a pressure cooker. If the valve works, steam escapes slowly. The pressure stays manageable. But if the valve gets blocked, pressure builds and builds and builds until something gives. That's what's happening under Naples right now. Gas is collecting in pockets throughout the crust. Some pockets are releasing gas safely. Others are sealed, trapped. The pressure in those trapped pockets is incredible. Scientists calculated it 2,000 tons per square meter. To put that in perspective, that's more pressure than at the bottom of the ocean. More than a submarine hull can handle. And it's all pushing upward against rock that's already cracking. The question isn't if something will break. The question is when and what happens when it does. History gives us clues. Campi Flegrei has erupted before. The last major eruption was in 1538. A new mountain formed in just a few days. It's still there, called Monte Nuovo, New Mountain. But that was small compared to what this volcano can do. Go back further, 39,000 years ago, Campi Flegrei produced the most powerful eruption in European history, the Campanian Ignimbrite eruption. It threw ash across the entire Mediterranean. The sky went dark for months, climate changed, temperatures dropped. Some scientists think it nearly wiped out early humans in Europe. That eruption happened when the crust broke completely, when all that trapped gas found a way out at once. The explosion was so powerful it left a caldera, a giant hole in the ground 12 miles wide. That's the bowl Naples sits in today. Scientists don't think an eruption that big is coming now. The conditions are different. But even a small eruption would be catastrophic. 1 million people live here. Major roads, ports, airports, infrastructure everywhere. An eruption wouldn't just affect Naples. It would impact all of southern Italy, possibly Europe, definitely the world economy. The government knows this. That's why they're so careful about what they say. Panic could kill people before the volcano does. Stampedes, traffic accidents, chaos. But silence could be worse. If they wait too long to evacuate, roads will be jammed. Escape will be impossible. They're walking a tightrope. Between truth and fear, between action and patience, and every day the pressure below grows. Late one evening, monitoring stations detected something new. A tremor. Deep, long, strange. Not like normal earthquakes. This signal came from where rock and magma meet. Scientists call it a harmonic tremor. It means magma is moving through cracks, flowing like water through pipes, finding pathways upward. The signal lasted 20 minutes, then stopped. Everything went quiet. Too quiet. One volcanologist stared at the data screen. His hands shook slightly. "This is it," he whispered. His colleague looked at him. "What do you mean?" "This pattern. I've seen it before. In Hawaii, in Iceland, in the Philippines. It's the pattern right before..." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. They both knew what came next. New cameras focused on Solfatara, the most active area. Overnight, something changed. The ground near the crater cracked open. Not a little crack, a big one, running 50 feet across the surface. Steam poured out. Thick, white, hot. More steam than anyone had seen before. It rose into the night sky, visible for miles. People woke up and saw it. Photos flooded social media instantly. "This is it," people wrote. "It's starting." But the sun rose, and nothing more happened. The steam continued. The crack remained, but no explosion, no eruption, just the earth breathing. Heavily, like someone running, gasping for air. The city held its breath, waiting. Morning light revealed the truth. The city was still standing. No eruption happened overnight. No explosion destroyed Naples. But everything had changed. That crack in the ground? It's still there. The steam still rising. The danger still growing. Scientists gathered to analyze the night's data. The harmonic tremor meant magma moved. The new crack meant the crust weakened more. The steam meant gas is finding ways out. What does it all mean together? "The volcano is activating," one expert said, "but activation doesn't mean eruption. It means the system is waking up. How long until it's fully awake? Nobody knows. Could be days, could be months, could be years, or it could stop completely, go back to sleep like it did before. That's the maddening part. All this data, all this technology, all these experts, and still nobody can predict what happens next. Volcanoes don't follow schedules. They don't announce their plans. They just do what pressure and physics make them do. The residents of Naples face an impossible situation. Stay and risk disaster. Leave and abandon everything. Most are choosing to stay, not because they're brave, because they have nowhere else to go. Leaving means leaving jobs, schools, family, life. Where would 1 million people even go? Who would take them in? For how long? So they stay and they adapt. Some families take turns sleeping. Someone always awake, always ready. Others keep cars packed, ready to drive at a moment's notice. Schools practice evacuation drills. Not once a month like before. Every week now. Kids know the routes, the procedures, the meeting points. They're too young to understand the full danger. But they sense their parents' fear. The government updated emergency plans. They identified evacuation routes, set up staging areas outside the danger zone, stocked supplies, trained emergency workers. On paper, they're ready, but everyone knows the truth. If the volcano erupts suddenly, plans won't matter. There's no way to move 1 million people quickly. The roads can't handle it. The surrounding towns can't house them. The logistics don't work. So the real plan is simpler. Hope it doesn't happen, and if it does, hope for warning time. Experts continue monitoring everything. Every tremor measured, every gas emission recorded, every millimeter of ground movement tracked. They're looking for the signal, the pattern that says eruption imminent. But what if that pattern comes too late? What if the warning is only hours, or worse, minutes? One scientist was asked, "Will we know in time?" He paused before answering. "We'll know something is happening," he said carefully. "We'll see changes, signals, warnings. But will we know exactly when, with enough time to evacuate everyone safely?" Another pause. "I hope so." That's all anyone can say. Hope. Because certainty doesn't exist when dealing with volcanoes. Meanwhile, life continues. Restaurants open, shops sell goods, buses run routes, but everything feels temporary. Like a play where everyone knows the ending but keeps performing anyway. Some tourists still visit. Fewer than before, but some. They take selfies with Vesuvius in the background. They don't realize the real danger isn't Vesuvius. It's under their feet. At night, the city lights up beautifully. The bay reflects stars. Everything looks peaceful. But underground, the earth is anything but peaceful. The pressure continues building. The crust continues fracturing. The magma continues rising. This isn't over. This might be just beginning. Or it might be another false alarm, another cycle of fear followed by relief. Another story people will tell about that time the volcano almost erupted. Nobody knows. And that's what makes it terrifying. The uncertainty, the waiting, the knowing that everything could change in an instant. We've built cities on fault lines. We've built homes on volcanoes. We've convinced ourselves we're in control, that we understand nature, that we can predict and prepare. But when the ground begins to breathe, when the earth itself starts to move, all our confidence vanishes. All our technology feels small. All our plans feel inadequate. We're reminded of something we forget too easily. This planet is alive. It has its own rhythms, its own power, its own will. We're just living on its surface, temporary visitors in geological time. Campi Flegrei may not erupt tomorrow. It might not erupt next year, it might not erupt in our lifetimes. But the crust has spoken, the fractures are real. The pressure is building. And every time the Earth exhales, every tremor, every crack, every steam vent, it reminds us of something fundamental. We don't control nature. We never did. We just pretend we do. Until moments like this, when the ground moves and we remember. The monitoring continues, the waiting continues, life continues under the shadow of a volcano that's been sleeping for centuries. But sleeping isn't dead, and waking up doesn't mean erupting. It just means the possibility is real, the danger is present, and the story isn't over, not even close.